United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Having no approval of the record, the next item on the agenda is hearings. Item 4A. Council Welton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regarding item 4A, I would like to take out of order item 8B, late communication from Mr. Crooker regarding this project and a request for withdrawal of special permit without prejudice. Mr. Crooker has decided to not move forward with this project at this time. Being the case, I'd like to move to accept item 8B. So moved.
Hear the motion by Councilor Welton. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Sasslaw. Oh, sorry. Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
yes,
Charist.
Yes.
Haley Martin.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0, one absent.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is reports of committee. First is Human Services. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had two guests this evening joining the Human Services Committee, chaired by myself, joined by members, Councilors Charest, Gould, Melville, and Mitsoulas, and all of the other members that are here this evening were also in attendance. We had Veterans Agent Steve Patton join us to give us an overview of all the services being provided to our veterans throughout the year and specifically throughout the pandemic. And he said that some services have been reduced, specifically the ride share program due to our veterans and the drivers, the volunteer drivers, feeling uneasy about going out given the COVID pandemic. And that created the notice of a need for perhaps younger volunteers, anywhere from 2 to 3, if there are any out in the community, that feel that they can provide that service, that they are less susceptible than the current volunteers. They're older, an older generation of folks that provide those, that Steve Patton would be happy to take your phone call or an email for anyone that is willing to offer to drive our veterans and participate in that program to get them to some of their services. That would be helpful. And he also mentioned that the disability claims had dropped off, but they are picking back up, and they are meeting people by appointments. And so that throughout the pandemic, though, our veterans' needs have been met, and the veterans agent, Steve Patton, and his assistant, Lee Levitt, have been doing a great job making sure that they're getting their services. So we thank them for that. Also, what was again mentioned at our Human Services, and he provided the information, Mr. Patton, was the need for housing for our veterans. And he has some irons in the fire and some ideas that he's working on to work with community development in hopefully providing some veterans housing for our Peabody residents here in Peabody. So that was a report of progress from the Veterans Service Agent for the services provided to our veterans throughout the past year, and in particular during the pandemic. We also had Jared Hockman, a school committee member and director of the No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody program, and he gave a presentation on all the work that that program has been doing. And it is a program that is pretty much all volunteer-driven and provides 2,319 meals to children throughout the year. That would be the number of students that are on free and reduced lunch, which is 40% of our student population in the city of Peabody. So there's quite a need that has been ongoing, but it's certainly been highlighted throughout the pandemic because the children weren't receiving their meals at school. So as with everything with the pandemic, everyone had to kind of evolve and rethink things and provide services differently. And this program, No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody, has certainly been doing that. And again, all run by volunteers with a lot of help from different divisions and departments throughout the city. Has also been helping out down at the Haven for Hunger and Citizens Inn, who donate the space and a lot of help and manpower down there as well. Two needs that were emphasized that are not being met throughout their program is they have to borrow vehicles and vans to transport large quantities. I think it was 45,000 pounds a week of food to get it from, say, the Boston Food Bank back to Peabody and then to be disseminated throughout the city of Peabody in predominantly wards 2, 3, 4, and 5, again, done by volunteers in their private vehicles, and there's about 25 volunteers that do that each Friday. And also, given that it's a program run by volunteers and the emphasis is to get the food to the children, there is an administrative need there to help with the paperwork and filing and searching for grants and things of that nature. So we did have a good discussion on some ideas on how to assist No Child Goes Hungry to find that help and meet that need and fill that gap. So we had a great discussion, and with both those programs and both the gentlemen presenting, it was clear that we have a great community with wonderful people who volunteer and reach out to people in need in our city, and it's one of the things that makes Peabody great. So I wanted to thank those two gentlemen for joining us this evening and everything that they do. And for those of you at home, if you want to volunteer with either of these programs, or if you have any ideas to help out with any of those issues, please contact either Jared Hockman of No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody or Steve Patton of the Veterans Agent through the City of Peabody. That is a report of progress. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. Next report of committee is the Industrial Community Development. Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met this evening. In attendance was myself as chair, Councilor McGinn, Councilor O'Neill, Councilor Sharris, and Councilor Melville. Also participating was the rest of the council, Councilor Welton, Councilor Manning Martin, Councilor Turco, Councilor Matsoulis, and yourself, Council President Rosignol. We had two issues tonight. One was subsidized housing. The other was a Peabody housing production plan, and they kind of morphed in together. It started off with Mr. Bellavance telling us about the number of units that we currently have as housing stock, which is 22,135. And in order for us to meet the 10% threshold, we need 107 more housing units to reach that threshold. Mr. Bellavance gave us a lot of insight into our subsidized housing numbers. He then introduced Ms. Karen Sonneborg. She gave an overview of affordable housing numbers in the housing production plan that she has put together as they relate to the state guidelines and how they affect Peabody. Ms. Sonneborg gave the details of the existing housing stock and percentage of income spent on housing. The recommended number of percentage of income rather was 30%, but we have a number of folks that are spending upwards of 30% and some as high as 50%, which is astronomical in her terms. Mr. Bellavance answered a number of questions, as did Ms. Sonneberg. Councilor Manning Martin expressed the urgency to have a completed valid housing plan, of which we all agree. And we have set a time frame of 2 weeks for the committee to submit any concerns. And I please ask you to do that, as well as I'm asking the rest of the councilors to please give Mr. Bellavance your concerns within 2 weeks so we can move forward on updating and having a very solid housing production plan. That is a report of committee, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Next item on the agenda is motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Welton.
No motions this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilor Mitsoulas. Councilor Mitsoulas, any motions, orders, or resolutions?
I have no motions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a co-motion with Councilor Mitsoulas. There is a gate at the end of North Central Street that connects the industrial park, for the lack of a better word, off of Pulaski Street. And that gate keeps being opened and closed, allowing different traffic through there. And the agreement was that Councilor Mitsoulas carved out with the last special permit holder that they would be the gatekeeper, no pun intended, and that gate would remain closed except for emergencies, whether that be fire or police. So what I'm asking is, and again, a co-motion with Councilor Mitsoulas, is that the police department, Chief Griffin, please take charge of that gate. And if it's, I don't know how to do it, but I'd be glad to talk to him about the best way for that gate to be monitored, for whether it's locked or but the only way that should be open is for public safety. So moved, Mr. President.
You heard the motion by Councilor Gould, co-motion with Councilor Mitsoulas. Seeing no discussion
Yeah,
on the motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Mitsoulas.
Yeah, Councilor Gould, thank you. That motion. I have been working on that, Council. The ownership of that property has changed. And with a couple of the neighbors here, I probably should have told you. I'm sure one of the neighbors told you. But I want to thank you for bringing that motion up. I don't want you to think that it's something that was ignored.
No, I know you were. I know you were, Councilor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin,
Yes.
Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Gould.
Thank you. I'd also like to make some recognition of Department of Public Services. They fixed a very damaged sidewalk in front of the Haven from Hunger that is constantly being used. So I'd like to kudos to the Department of Public Services for helping us with that sidewalk on Wallace Street in front of the Haven from Hunger. That is just a resolution, Mr. President, or a thank you.
Any further comment, Councilor Gould?
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Councilor Shiraz.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to move to accept item 7G. And also ask for the mayor to submit, if any, response from the owners of the Hemisphere Company on his letter. So move.
You heard the motion by Councilor Shiraz. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Shiraz.
Thank you. I also like to ask the director of the DPS to inspect all the sidewalks in a school zone for the entire city. I know that's a big task to take on, but I would like to have it at least started, that to inspect every sidewalk leading to a school that's in a school zone, and report the conditions. We've asked our children and parents to walk to school. I think we need to identify some sidewalks that's maybe not in the perfect condition for walking on, or the residents of that area to shovel and snowplow the sidewalks to make it clear so children and parents do not have to walk in the street, they can walk on the sidewalk. So move.
You heard the motion by Councilor Stress. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Charis.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Stress.
And lastly, I would ask the council to send a request to the Police Department of Traffic to be aware of the cars that's, I've been getting a lot of calls, and I know most of you have also, on cars and trucks that is parking on the sidewalks. Some are parking completely on the sidewalks, some are parking half on the sidewalk. But if the police can take notice to this, because it's becoming more and more common, and it's really making an issue for people, again, walking on the sidewalks, especially as we get many requests to repair sidewalks. Sidewalks are for feet, not for tires. So move.
You heard the motion by Councilor Stress. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Charis.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Stress.
That will be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Stress. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive item 7A, communication from the mayor, a request for a transfer of funds, and refer to finance. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Charis. Gould.
Yes.
Yes.
Charis.
Oh, yes.
Manning Martin. Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill. Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive item 7B, communication from the mayor requesting a transfer of funds. So moved. Refer to finance. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Charis.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive communication from the mayor, 7C, transfer of funds, and refer to finance. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Charis.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville. McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive communication 7D, request for transfer of funds, and refer to finance. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Charis. Manning Martin. Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive communication 7E from the mayor requesting a transfer of funds and refer to finance. So moved.
The motion by Councilor Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton.
Yes.
Mitsoulas.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Charis.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Turco.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Rozignol. Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to receive 8A. So moved. suspension of the rules, motion to receive 8A. So moved. Thank you.
On the motion, just for the council's edification, I did respond to this correspondence, which I sent as a late communication that did not get into the packet to the city clerk, but I'll just read it. Hello, Councilman Manning Martin. My understanding is 13 of the 14 polls locations are already in discussion with the council. I believe they will be coming before us for final location, and it is up to the council for this approval. It's my understanding I'll get confirmation and get back as soon as possible. Seeing no further discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin,
Yes.
Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville, McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive 9A, utility contractor's license, and approve, all papers being in order. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilman Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilman Manning Martin.
No further motions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple motions. Co-motion with Councilor Welton to have the city clerk release all executive session minutes with regard to the proposed cell phone tower at 161 Lynn Street, also known as Michael's Limousine. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Turco. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill, Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also co-motion with Councilor Welton under Section 19-126, Section B of the city zoning ordinance, Code of Ordinances, obedience to isolated stop signs. The motion is to add and advertise Gedney Drive at Testinios Drive for a stop sign and Vieira Drive at Testinios Drive for a stop sign. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Turco. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does anybody receive 7F by any chance? Motion to receive item 7F, Verizon pole locations, under suspension of the rules.
You heard the motion by Councilor Turco. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charis,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to receive under suspension of the rules item 7H, and I'd like to briefly discuss this if you don't mind.
Councilor Turco, you have the floor.
So this is a letter from the mayor supporting additional hours of operation on holiday weekends from Sarah at Olio. And I felt that it was a need for me to discuss. If everybody remembers, Councilor McGinn had to recuse himself as an abutter, so I handled this hearing. And there was some discussion with Sarah about these specific times, and it may not have been clarified by me, and that there's a reasonable assumption that Saturday hours would extend to the Sunday hours of holiday weekends. And I feel bad that she may put in a request to actually come before us at her cost. And when this, I believe, could be a reasonable assumption by the council. So I would ask that we could just, and I'll defer to you on this, Mr. President, but maybe submit a letter to Sarah stating that the 4 days requested Memorial Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, and New Year's Eve would be construed under the permit hours or under Saturday hours for those 4 days, rather than have her come back before the council.
I think that's an appropriate request.
So with that motion, I would like the clerk to submit that letter clarifying that those 4 days would work.
You heard the motion by Councilor Turco. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote. Motion to receive.
My fault. Motion to receive item 7H
And
Under
send
suspension
the
of
letter in clarification.
with the clarification to Sarah, is it Grinnell? I believe it's Sarah Grinnell. Narcus, I'm sorry, Sarah Narcus from Oleo. Thank you.
The motion by Councilor Turco. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charist,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Present.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 9-0, one present.
Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President, that's all.
Thank you. Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. No motions this evening.
Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. Councilor Melville.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to set up a legal affairs subcommittee meeting with the subject being the conservation restrictions that were received by the council and forwarded to legal affairs at the last meeting. You just want to just let me know whatever date works for you, Alice. I know it's a very busy time. You need a motion for that?
I think the
or-
12th will be good.
The 12th? All right, let's plan it for then. So we'll have a legal affairs on the 12th. I don't think we need, we already accepted the documents. Secondarily, we have a late communication from the mayor. I'm not sure if this has been taken yet regarding the outdoor dining. I'd like to move to receive the late communication from His Honor the Mayor. In the communication, he requests that we follow up on the previous letter of the City Council dated September 17, 2020. And attached, I ask the council to approve a continuation of the Peabody's Outdoor Dining Initiative from November 1st, 2020 to April 1st, 2021. This extension will allow added flexibility for 18 approved restaurants during this holiday season and perhaps beyond, should we have, and he says, I hope, a mild winter. And additional, I would suggest in some point next couple of months, we schedule a meeting to review this initiative and discuss the potential of moving forward. So that's from His Honor the Mayor. I think we just can approve the extension.
On the motion, this was in committee of the whole, so I would entertain a motion to take it out of the committee of the whole so that we can vote on it this evening because of the time sensitivity of that letter.
So moved. I make a motion and pull it out of the... Do you have something to say? I make a motion to pull it out of the committee whole and have it discussed and approve it tonight. So moved.
You heard the motion by Council Melville. On the motion, Council McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to Council Melville. So it's just, there's two parts to the motion, right? We're receiving the late communication and we're taking the matter of the communication of the 17th of September out of the committee. So those two things.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for the clarification. You heard the motions by Councilor Melville. Seeing no discussion on the motions, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas, Councilor Mitsoulas, Gould,
Yes.
Charist,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco, O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 9-0, two absent.
Councilor Melville.
Now we approve this, right? Or that was both motions. We have to now approve it as a make a motion to approve the late communication by His Honor the Mayor regarding outdoor dining, extending it to April 1st, 2021. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Melville. On the motion, Councilor McGinn.
On the motion, thank you, Mr. President, through you to Council Melville. Council Melville, just I went back to look at how we approved this in the first place, so just in terms of how we structure the motion, if you'd be agreeable to this, the suggested language would be to move to approve, to amend the temporary outdoor dining regulations and temporary outdoor dining agreement, changing the dates, the expiration dates on both documents from November 1st, 2020 to April 1st, 2021.
I think we should add that in the motion, so moved.
You heard the amended motion.
Thank you.
On the amended motion, Councilor Welton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for clarification, if we had a restaurant that was not part of the initial 18, would they be eligible to still go through the process and be considered for outdoor dining?
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through to Council. Yes, that was part of the reason I wanted to have that exact language, because this, by just extending the dates on that temporary language, a new restaurant could be added. So it doesn't limit it to the existing 18.
Great, thank you, Councilor McGinn, appreciate it.
Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Mitsoulas. Oh, he's gone. Gould,
Yes.
Charist,
Yes.
Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 9-0, 2 absent.
Councilor Melville.
I just want to say thank you to all the people that are working at the Terrigen Center, doing the early voting, doing a fantastic job, very safe, very quick, completely worth every ounce of energy that those people are putting in. They're great patriots by being there and doing that, and I really appreciate it. It was a great experience. If anybody hasn't done it already, you'll feel very comfortable going through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Melville. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to kind of reiterate exactly what Councilor Melville just said. The early voting experience, from my perspective, was very easy, and all the precautions were taken. And honestly, when I see what goes on around the country in terms of the lines and just how difficult some places, some jurisdictions make this, it blows my mind, and it makes me feel great about living in a community like Peabody when I see how well it's been handled. So just to kind of support the comments that Councilor Melville said, and to I don't want to get ahead of myself to the clerk here, because I know there's still quite a ways to go on this. But my experience was very positive. So and I would encourage any other residents to go out there and participate and take advantage of that same opportunity. Thank you, Mr. President. No further motions.
Thank you. Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. President. Allison, can you please tell us some numbers of early voting, or if you have any to share with us? I don't want to put you on the spot, but.
So we've had about 2,200 early voters come through the doors in 5 days.
Wow.
And we had only about 1,200 in the primary come through in 7 days. So that is going very well. And we sent out about just under 14,000 mail-in ballots. And I don't have a number exactly for how many we've received. I just have ballots everywhere right now in my office.
Allison, what's typical of a presidential election in Peabody, percentage-wise?
I don't think this is typical at all, so I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, that's all
It's
right.
going to be a very high number, very, very high turnout.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of new registered voters as well. I think we've gotten at least 1,500 new registered voters.
That's wonderful. You must be exhausted, but thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Just as a follow-up, could you just give the hours and the days of early voting at the Terrigen Center?
So early voting hours will be tomorrow up until next Friday, from 9 to 3 at the Senior Center. This Saturday is the last day to register to vote. You can register to vote online, or you can actually go into the Senior Center and register to vote and vote provisionally at the same time. And as soon as we enter your registration, your vote will be counted. We will also be here Saturday from 2 to 4 outside registering folks, and from 7 to 8 o'clock, which is the deadline.
Thank you, City Clerk. No motions by myself this evening. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. You heard the motion by Councilor Manning Martin. Seeing no discussion on the motion, roll call vote.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Charist, Manning Martin, Turco,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Melville, McGinn,
Yes.
Rossignol. Motion carries 9-0.
Everyone.